world was a blur of polished brass and whispered conversations, a symphony of clinking crystal and soft jazz that felt 1,000 miles away. Liam Thorne, CEO of a tech empire that had redefined connectivity, sat in the velvet-draped corner of Veritas, the city's most exclusive restaurant, and felt the familiar chill of boredom. This was his third blind date this month, orchestrated by a well-meaning but painfully traditional aunt. He expected another iteration of the same, a polished, beautiful woman with a perfect smile and perfectly rehearsed answers. He was preparing his own polite, disinterested responses when the maitre d' approached, his expression a mask of pained apology, and then he saw her. She was a splash of dissonant color in the monochrome elegance of the room. Her coat was a frayed patchwork thing, several sizes too large. Frayed jeans were tucked into scuffed boots, and a mismatched lumpy scarf was wrapped haphazardly around her neck. A beanie pulled low over her ears concealed most of her hair. She looked lost, or like she'd just stumbled in from a storm that no one else could see. This has to be a mistake, Liam thought, a flicker of annoyance cutting through his apathy. Did she confuse Veritas for the soup kitchen down the street? But her eyes. That was what stopped the dismissive comment on his lips. As she drew closer, guided by the flustered maitre d', he saw them. They were the color of warm honey, and they held a depth of quiet amusement and a startling, unvarnished intelligence. They didn't dart around in insecurity. They met his gaze directly, unflinching. "Liam?" she asked, her voice softer than he expected but clear. "That's me," he said, rising automatically. "And you must be Alara." He gestured to the plush chair opposite him, his mind racing. "Is this a prank?" "A social experiment?" She sat, movements graceful despite the bulky clothing. "I hope I didn't keep you waiting." The bus was eventful. A waiter approached, his smile strained. "Can I take your coat, madam?" Alara's hand went protectively to the frayed collar. "No, thank you, I'm a little chilled." The waiter retreated, and an awkward silence descended, broken only by the soft jazz. "So," Liam began, deciding to confront the absurdity head-on. "This is a unique style choice for Veritas. Is there a statement I'm missing?" Alara's lips twitched. "You could say that. It's a filter." "A filter? For men," she said simply, picking up the heavy leather-bound menu. "It's remarkably efficient. It filters out those who see the coat, and not the person wearing it. Saves us both a lot of time, don't you think?" She looked up and her honey-colored eyes pinned him. Most men see a beggar and can't get up fast enough. Their loss. The wine list is impressive. Liam felt his carefully constructed world tilt. He was a man who dealt in data, in code, in the unassailable logic of algorithms. Her logic was brutal, elegant, and utterly disarming. The annoyance evaporated, replaced by a spark of intense, undeniable curiosity. The conversation that followed was unlike any he'd ever had. They spoke of Byzantine history, the flawed poetry of early AI, and the quiet tragedy of a dying star. She was witty, sharp, and challenged him at every turn. With every word she spoke, the ragged coat faded, becoming a meaningless backdrop to the brilliant, captivating woman inside it. He found himself leaning forward, hanging on her words, laughing at a joke so dry he almost missed it. He was, to his absolute astonishment, falling in love. Not with a carefully curated image, but with a raw, unfiltered mind. "Why me?" he finally asked, his voice softer now. "You could have any man in this city. Why show up like this for a blind date with a CEO?" Alara's smile was sad, and for the first time, her confidence seemed to waver. She looked down at her chipped mug of tea. She'd refused wine. Because CEOs are the worst for it. They see people as assets. Liabilities, they see the suit, the net worth, the connections. "I wanted to see if you could see me." "I see you," Liam said, and the words felt more true, more profound than any business deal or acquisition he'd ever brokered. "Alara, I've never met anyone like you." He reached across the table, his fingers gently covering her hand where it rested beside her teacup. The gesture was intimate, protective, a declaration. It was then that his thumb brushed against the inside of her wrist. The fabric of her coat sleeve was rough, but beneath it he felt something smooth and cold. Something metallic. His brow furrowed slightly. He pushed the frayed fabric back just an inch, and the world stopped. There, nestled against her pale skin, was a hospital bracelet. The name was clear, Alara Vance. And below it, in stark typed letters, was the reason for her admission: palliative care. The air rushed from his lungs. The elegant restaurant, the soft music, the future he had just begun to imagine. It all shattered into a million piercing shards. Ilara didn't pull her hand away. She just looked at him, her eyes filled with a bottomless, heartbreaking acceptance. The real filter hadn't been for superficial men. It was a shield against a future she would never have. "I told you," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the sudden roaring in his ears. "It saves us both a lot of time."